money origin story, like I kind of think of it like I literally liken it to the sun revolves around the earth. Like I can go talk to Lynn Alden right now and say these words out loud. I go, money solved the problem of barter. And she'll go, yeah, 100%. I can go to Breedlove, say, hey, money solved the problem of barter. And go, yeah, 100%. I can say it to some guy on, you know, on some weird island off the coast of New Zealand. Money solved the problem of barter. They go, yeah. Like it's such a standardized idea that everyone accepts as that is the facts. That is the where money came from. It solved the problem of barter. And it's a myth. It's like that literally never happened. Adam Smith made that thing up off the top of his head. He looked around the world, he surveyed the world and said, I think barter used to be a problem. That's why they created money. Therefore, I will put this in my book and people will accept this as true for the rest of time. And I go, it's just, it didn't happen. Like that literally didn't happen. There was a great economic anthropologist, historian called David Graeber. He's passed away now. He was a big figure in the Occupy Wall Street movement, but he calls it the great founding myth of economics. He said there's never been a society on earth that has ever developed that way, where they went from a barter economy to a cash economy or to a shell economy or to a bead economy. Said that just doesn't happen. There are a lot of places where they had a currency that collapsed and then they resorted to barter, but it's never gone the other way. And so when I challenge that thesis, I go, look, man, money is a tool of the state. It's always a tool of the state. It's always been a tool of the state. If you go back to ancient Egypt and they said, oh yeah, they had gold coins and whatever, what was that for? You had to go pay that money to the religious leaders, right? You had to go give that to them, and then you had to take it so they could get stuff from you. But that's what it's all about. It's what money has always been about. Pay us a tax so we don't have to steal your stuff directly. And it's like the old mob boss in, you know, like when the mafia guy comes by in Little Italy in New York and goes, hey, Saul, I see you're running a pretty successful sandwich shop here. How about pay us a little money and we'll make sure nothing bad happens to your shop. And the guy goes, GFY, this is America. I don't need you. We got the police. And you go, hey, the police aren't so good at stopping this kind of stuff, Saul. So you should really pay us the tax. And Saul tells him to GFY. Sure enough, next day, all his windows get busted out. And some guy comes and conks him on the head with a stick and says, hey, Saul, you should really watch out for all these bad guys in the neighborhood. So the mafia guy comes back the next day. Hey, Saul, looks like your shop got busted up. I told you we could have protected you from this. Never mind, it's the same guys that are doing the hustling. It's the same guys that are doing the smashing. It's the same guys that are doing all this stuff. But that's the origin of the tax, right? Like the mafia guy doesn't want to come and collect sandwiches from Saul every week, but they want the ability to get the sandwiches when they need them, right? And it's the same thing for every thug in the history of mankind, since the first guy looked at someone farming a vegetable patch and went, hey, I'm kind of hungry. I could use some vegetables. I'm big and strong. I could just go bash that guy on the head and take his vegetables. From that moment on, they went, hey, this is way easier than farming vegetables. And if I get enough of us together, we can all just bonk people on the head and take their vegetables. But after a while, taking vegetables is less efficient. So the easiest thing in the world to do is go, hey, you have to pay us these beads, rocks, shells, lead pellets, feathers, whatever you want to come up with. You got to give us X amount of these every year. And you have to take them so we can get stuff from you, right? So you go, money. That's the birth of money. And that's my thesis that I'll run with forever, which is why I think it's very important to distinguish Bitcoin from money or the ideas of sound money. Because you go, I want sound money. You go, oh, you want a sound tax? Yes, that's what I really want. I really want the sovereign to be able to take from me in a sound manner. You go, that doesn't sound like a good solution to me. But if you have something that the sovereign wants, which is property, resources, then you're talking about a different game, if that makes sense.
So would you equate it to, so I hear what you're saying. On one hand, what you're talking about here, I think is highly practical. On the other hand, it's sort of semantics, because when most people say money, it's like it's the ability to buy, sell, transact value. I think like that, like when we talk about it in Bitcoin, we kind of get into the weeds of the definitions that you're talking about here. But I think if, I just said money to my friend, my normie friend, he's like, oh, that's the thing I just use to buy my groceries or what have you.
Right.
So I assume though that you feel like the fact that you've got this unconfiscatable property that you can use to exchange value to retain purchasing power, whether you call it money or not, or property, still exhibits what many people would consider our monetary properties.
Well, that's the thing is, like, when people say, well, it's a semantic argument, I go, well, it's not, because the semantics of money are, what is money? Like right now, if you go look at an economics textbook, you go, what is money? If you just Google it right now, it says, well, it's a unit of account, it's a store of value, and it's a medium of exchange. Okay, so money is three things. Okay, well, then what are we talking about when we say this is money? Is it all of those things? Does it have to be all of those things to be money? Does it have to just be one of those things, or 2/3 of those things? And then you talk about, like, well, Donald Trump is wealthy. Go, how much money does he have? His money, cash money, liquid assets, does he have in his bank account? I don't know, probably $500,000. Oh, well, how's he rich? Well, he owns property. Oh, well, why does that make him rich? Well, because that's where all his money is. Oh, so money is property? No. It's not property, because you can't, it's not a medium, it's just a store of value. But that's how he protects himself from money. So his money is protecting himself from money. Right. Okay, so what are we talking about now? Like, do you see how quickly that can be a very circular line of reasoning?
Would you be more comfortable with framing Bitcoin as a means of storing and sending value, storing, sending, and receiving value?
Well, I'm comfortable with the idea of Bitcoin as property, right? It's property that can't be seized. Like that, I will maintain that. That's a hill I'm willing to die on, because the thing that changes the dynamics of the competitive resource capture game are, like, can you capture and control resources, right? Mm-hmm. If you right now, Michael Jordan from the Bitcoin Way, just went and decided, I'm going to rob every bank in my city, right? The state is going to come and try and stop you, right? Like 100%. They're going to send cops. They're going to go, nope, you're not allowed to steal all these resources. That's not your job here. But if you, Michael Jordan, walked into the bank and said, I have a nuke buried under City Hall, if you guys even think about messing with me, I'm going to blow this city off the map. Don't even look at me funny, or you guys are all done. And they go and they look under City Hall and they go, oh shit, there's actually a nuke under City Hall. Then you go, I'm going to go rob every single bank today. And if anybody gets in the way, guess what happens? So what happened? Or is that a valid capture of resources now? No one can stop you, right? Like, there's a reason North Korea still exists, because they have a nuke. So they go, hey, well, every other country gets dinkered with internally. They get, CIA guys going in, destabilizing stuff. They get all this sort of like trade rules imposed against them, this, that, and sanctions and yada, yada, yada. North Korea is still just like clipping along. And you go, how come you don't go and just destabilize North Korea and make it so it's not that way anymore? Well, because they have a nuke and they can like nuke our partner, and that's no good. And they might use it. So we have to be careful with that one, because that guy is now a sovereign. He is now has legitimate sovereignty over resources that no one can take from him, because he's got a nuke. Just like the United States, just like Russia, just like China, just like France, just like Germany, just like all the nuclear armed nations of the world, they get to dictate what's what, because they have a nuke and they can defend themselves. So they can defend their property. Bitcoin changes that, because you go, hey, how do you take this property? Well, you don't. You can't. You can go and beat the guy around the head. You can do this, that, and the other thing, but you can't take it from him. You can maybe coerce him into giving it up, just like they could try and coerce Kim Jong-un or Il or whichever version of that Kim thing we're on right now. They can try and coerce that guy, but they can't come in and just physically take his land. They can't just invade, because they'll get nuked. Yeah. And that's the same thing with Bitcoin. It's just, you don't need the nuke to do it. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I think Bitcoin is like such a huge deal, because you as a human being can do something that no king has been able to do without an army for the last 12,000 years. You can do what the United States can do with property, with their aircraft carriers and tanks and jets and nukes and everything. You have the same power over a piece of property that's valuable. Like, if it were invaluable, like if no one cared about it, it wouldn't matter. But post 2024, people care about it now. And you control it. You as a sovereign individual control property that no one on earth can take from you. Doesn't matter how many nukes they have. Doesn't matter how many guns they have. Doesn't matter how many tanks. And as more and more people want that property, your sovereignty rises dramatically. Your ability to transact with it becomes less and less relevant, because of the fact that you control a property. Just like if you controlled your entire town by having a nuke underneath it, and You go, well, do I need to transact in my resources that I've captured here? Not really. Kim Jong-un doesn't really need to transact in his resources. He does because, you know, that's how he gets his Jaguars and Mercedes and his golf courses and shit. But it's, do you see where I'm going with this? Like that's why it's a game changer. It's not because you can buy cocaine in Bolivia. It's because you control property that someone can't take from you.
Yeah.
The most peaceful revolution we'll ever see. And I think with, even as it is a steady revolution of its own, a lot of people, I think, are going to experience the outcomes of a great realignment and really not quite ever understand how that happened or what Bitcoin's role was in that. I think it's the great realignment is occurring and will change everything. And I can see a lot of people that may not ever own Bitcoin are going to just see things different in the world, or their incentives have changed a little bit, and they won't really understand how that happened or why. And yet that it was a transformation.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, what do you think, Michael, through all this? I was mattering. Like, I tend to rant, so I apologize. That's
I can do the same thing. No, I think that makes sense. I think trying to think how to frame this. I still, like, when I look at the world, what we colloquially call money today, you know, typical fiat currencies. And this is a problem with you, Daniel, because now every time I say money or currency or anything, I'm like, okay, let me define that for everyone real quick. I know he drives me crazy. No, what we colloquially call money, I guess, at the moment, we see a lot of authoritarianism beginning to sort of govern. And I mean, like, if you look in Spain, I think they've got like limits on withdrawals. You got to give like 24 hours notice. I don't even know what the hell they're doing in the UK, Australia, terrible, Canada. I mean, it's all going to hell from what I can see. And so while I agree with you, property that nobody can extract, wealth that no one can extract from you, that thesis makes a lot of sense to me. I think that is one of the attributes of Bitcoin that make it so incredibly useful. I think another is the fact that if you want to exchange this property for something else anywhere globally, you can choose to do that, and you don't have to get the bank's permission. And, you know, you can do that if you want to convert your wealth to gold today and you want to take it all into self-custody, right? Like, but practically speaking, in a global digital economy, not going to happen, right? So, I mean, it is a revolution in transactability as well as sovereignty over what you hold. Right. And so I think it's like a both and for me. I can agree with your thesis there and get on board, and also maybe weight the transactability of Bitcoin as equally important, because at the end of the day, like, the reason you hold, I don't know if I should say property or money, the reason you might hold Bitcoin is not to be able to like show someone that like you have the keys to this Bitcoin. It's to be able to do something with that Bitcoin that allows you to live a better life, to own something else that you might want. Like, like, it's the same reason no one wants dollars. They want what they think dollars can afford them, whether it's peace of mind, whether it's, a piece of property, a house, whatever, Lamborghini. So I just think there are a lot of benefits to Bitcoin. And one of them, I completely agree with you, is the unconfiscatable nature of it as property. Fritz, what do you do, man? You got to work with this guy all the time. Does he like, is this how he like converses with you? He calls you in the morning and
absolutely. Oh yeah. We'll meet randomly during the week for various, for business and pleasure. And just, so I don't know if you ever had this experience, but when I started learning about Bitcoin, and initially crypto shitcoinery stuff, but when I want to say it could have taken a year, more like 9 months. And I got on the Bitcoin path hardcore, and I was just like, am I crazy? Am I the only one? I'm looking around. I knew like one other guy in my adjacent fiat workspace who also got it. And he was on a similar path and knew more than I did. I was on another path, but we aligned and bounced off each other but I just didn't see him all that often. It was just kind of random and sporadic, and we both had fiat jobs. Thank you for watching this video. This is just a short clip from our full episode. So if you'd like to enjoy more entertaining wisdom found in our podcasts in their full context, just click a link in the corner. We are always sharing our big ideas on Bitcoin Liberty Live.